Two balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Walk the ball. Chris Taylor.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Scott Geirman. Scott, we are continuing our series of breaking down positional rankings and where certain Dodgers fall across various lists. Today, we are talking relief pitchers and some good news for the Dodgers. Evan Phillips ranked number 4 by the Shredder. This is a computer that's looking at previous statistics, projections, etc. So, Scott, I'll just start with the first obvious question here. Evan Phillips, number 4 relief pitcher. You like that ranking?
Oh, I love that ranking. That's a surprise, for a lot of people, when Evan Phillips got brought into the organization. It's like, just another cast off from a, really talented organization. Believe he was with the Tampa Bay Rays. It's just a case that the Dodgers did what they did. We saw a little flash back in 21 and 22. He really became something special, a guy that they can really rely on. He ascended to essentially, we saw right before our eyes, one of the best that we have on the roster. Once you looked around Major League Baseball, people really needed to take notice of him. Yeah,
64 appearances, I believe, last year. So we're not talking about a non-existent sample size, 63 innings. He had a 1.14 ERA. That was best in baseball, a 2.18 expected ERA, a 1.94 FIP. So basically, he's producing on the field. You look at some of the projections and whatnot, and those match up. 11 strikeouts per 9, 2.14 walks for 9. All that is legit. I think the biggest question, Scott, is do you believe that he can replicate that? Now, I'm not expecting a 1.14 ERA again next season, but I think the biggest question people have with relief pitchers is just the volatility of these guys. Do you think Evan Phillips has the capacity to put together another 2.00 ERA season, be a dominant relief pitcher, be an all-star level guy? Do you think he has that in him? Or do you think what we saw was sort of a flash in the pan and that this is going to regress a little bit closer to, a really good, but maybe not elite relief pitcher?
It's possible, just speak to what you said, the volatility of relievers, up, down, but I really think they unlock something here that's very repeatable. Baseball savant loves Evan Phillips. Let me tell you, you want to see a whole lot of red there. That's all you see. Aside from being one of the nicest guys in all of baseball, Evan Phillips, I think, is going to be one of the most consistent relievers around Major League Baseball. He's found a home with the Dodgers, and he's under team control for a really long time. So that's, it's a lot of fun having Evan Phillips in your bullpen.
Yeah, and I mean, like the way I've put it with Evan Phillips when I've had conversations with our friend Blake, who kind of jokes about relief pitchers, it's a total crapshoot. The reason I have confidence in a guy like Phillips is because I look at the eye test and I see the slider, sweeper, whatever you want to call it, and just how absolutely disgusting it is. I see the fastball and how good he has been with those pitches, and I say, okay, he passes the eye test. Then I go look at Baseball Savant and I say, all right, underneath the surface, we're looking at quality of contact, we're looking at swing and miss. Does he pass that test? As you said, dark red everywhere. We're talking 90 plus percentile in just about everything. And then I look to just strictly on-field performance. Is he allowing runs? And the ERA is 1 point something. And so I look at those 3 boxes and I say, again, relief pitchers, there is a level of volatility. Whether or not you can count on them year to year, who knows? But with Phillips, he passes the eye test, he passes the StatCast test, and he passes just the basic baseball, are you allowing earned runs test. And for that reason, for me, I think Phillips is going to be the guy. Now, let me ask you one last question while we're on the topic of relief pitchers. Dodgers recently added Jimmy Nelson to this group. They've got guys like Daniel Hudson, Alex Vesia, Brusdar Graterol, Shelby Miller's a newcomer. Blake Trinan could be healthy. JP Fireeisen. They have a loaded bullpen. I'm curious, is there another guy, if you had to pick one more guy from that group, that maybe by the time, if we were to redo this list 3/4 of the way through this season, who do you think the second highest ranked Dodger would be behind Phillips? And we're assuming some health here with guys like Trinan and Fireeisen and Nelson, etc. But who do you think ends up being the number 2 guy in this bullpen? Or is there somebody that you think actually jumps Phillips and becomes the number 1 guy?
It's tough to project through there. But I'd really like to highlight JP Fireeisen just as a real wild card. I'm very surprised that more team. I mean, I'm sure more teams are in on him, but the fact that he was able to land with the Dodgers, JP Fireeisen is a guy. He's not to be forgotten about. When he's healthy, when he's ready to go off the 60-day, whenever he comes off there, he's someone I'm very curious to see how Mark Pryor and the rest of the staff can work with him, because when he was in Milwaukee, he was very good. When they traded him over to the Rays, same thing, same time, same pipeline. There's a lot there. So I'd just like to highlight JP Fireeisen. Let's revisit this mid-season, and we'll see where he's at. That's someone I really want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think, again, the Dodgers' pen I think it's such a tough question. I think Phillips is clearly the number one guy, but Daniel Hudson, when he's been healthy, has been really, really good. Alex Vesia, if you're looking at swing and miss strikeout numbers, is one of the top guys in all of Major League Baseball. They've got Alex Reyes, who throws 100 miles an hour. Once he comes back from injury, if he's healthy, Jimmy Nelson, who we've mentioned, has been nasty. Brusdar Graterol, if he ever kind of puts the pieces together. They've just got Shelby Miller, who's the latest reclamation project. We didn't even mention Yency Almonte, who was insane last year. And so I think there's about 5 or 6 guys that if you put them in that number 2 role 3/4 of the way through the season, I wouldn't be surprised. We didn't even mention Blake Trinan. Does he pitch this year? Who knows? But when he does pitch, you could make a case he's one of the 10 best relief pitchers in baseball prior to injuries and whatnot. And so I think that's the good news for the Dodgers, is that this is a deep group. There is depth, there is length. And I just keep joking. I don't know how they're going to pick sort of the 7 guys who make the opening day bullpen, because they've got about 10 or 11. And some of the guys that get optioned or cut are going to be guys that are going to be starting somewhere else, if not within the Dodgers organization. Relieving, you know what I'm saying, on the opening day roster. They would be opening day roster type guys elsewhere in the league. So let us know what you guys think below. I'm curious. Evan Phillips, number 4. Does that feel appropriate? Does that feel high? I think some people were surprised he didn't make other lists from some of the other analysts, but I look at the numbers. I don't see how that is possible. That's Scott Geirman. My name is Jeff Spiegel. As always, check out DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958 on social media. And of course, check out the DodgerHeads podcast as well. We appreciate you joining us as always. Enjoy the rest of your day and go Dodgers.